Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's video is 31 Days of Halloween, Day 14, Mummy Figurine. So I have my supplies ready, and I'm going to start off with some beige clay, and I'm just going to soften this up, and I'm going to use this for the body underneath the mummy. And normally I would do this in 2 baking sessions, and I would sculpt the body, bake that, and then sculpt the wraps over it. So that would be a little bit easier, but I did have some success doing it this way, and we'll get to that here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and shape out the arms and the legs, and I'm going to soften up some more beige and use that for the base of the body. So I want to take some foil and cover that, since the torso is a little bit bigger. I didn't want that to be just completely clay. And then I had it just a little too big, so I want to reshape it a little bit and put the clay back over the foil. Now, to give myself a little more support with the arms and the legs, I'm going to go ahead and cut some wires, so I can stick those in and give a spot for the arms, legs, and head. And that'll give me a spot to put those on and just give it a little more support while I'm working with it and while it's baking. Now I am using my needle tool to pre-make the holes in the clay. The needle tool is a little thinner than the wire, so if I pre-make those, and then I can slide them on with a wire, and it just seems to work a little bit better. So that way that wire will follow along with where I want it to go. Now the arms were a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim the wire, and right before that I trimmed those down, the arms themselves, and then I'll attach them to the body. And I'm just using my ball tool to smooth it in and get everything so it's nice and attached. And then I want to add a texture, so if any of this shows through, it just kind of looks rough and wrinkly. Get a little bit of a close-up. I'll go ahead and do the eyes. I'm not worried about any other facial features, but I did want to have his eyes showing through, so I'm just using these small black beads. So I'm pushing those into place, and I'm just going to go through and texture the rest of him. So I'm getting him all textured, and now I can start working on the wraps. But I did want to go ahead, and I got a foil ball there. That's to kind of rest him, and I'll also use that when I'm baking him, but I want him to kind of stay in place while I'm mixing up the clay for the wraps. And what I'm doing is I'm taking some white clay and mixing in some brown clay, and I'm not worried about mixing it completely. I just wanted to make the white clay look a little bit dirty. And normally I'm all concerned about the white clay staying clean, but with the mummy I definitely did not want him to stay clean, so I dirtied that up some, and now I'm gonna apply it to the mummy. So here's where I benefited by not baking it first. I was able to take those legs off and wrap them individually, which was a lot easier because you have such a small space between his legs. But if I wrapped them individually, then I could slide them on and not have to worry about weaving that mummy wraps around it. And so for the rest of it, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around. And mainly what I want to do is cover as much of the body as possible. So I'm just going to roll out some more of the white and brown clay, and then I trim it with the X-Acto knife, and then wrap it around the arms and the body. And you'll notice on the arms, I am having it extend out because I want it to look like he's unraveled a little bit. He's got some extra wrappings that are just kind of flowing. And I did the same thing on the head, and I'm going to go ahead and cover the body. Now, if you ever have any spots that meet, or that just end, I kind of try to tuck those in somewhere so they don't look like they're out of place. I'm going to finish wrapping the body here. Just cover as much as I can, but you'll see there's several spots that are open, but that's okay because that's why I wanted to have that beige color to make it look, like there's this human underneath. So I had to mix up some more because I used up what I had. It's always hard to tell how many you're going to need with this, doing these wraps. But I did want to cover up some more of him. I'm trying to touch up his head. He had a little more skin exposed than I wanted him to. And the last thing I'm going to do is take this last bit of clay and make one long wrap that goes across the front of his body, and then I want it to drag to his left. And I thought it was a nice look, and also would give him a little more support when he's standing. So now that he's all done, I'm going to go ahead and bake him according to package instructions. And now we can look at the final little mummy figurine. Now, if you notice here, this wrap is not how I had it when I was sculpting him. What happened is he fell over in the oven, and that wrap kind of rolled up. So you can't really notice, but he does have a little smoother part on his hand here. That's where he fell over, and that rested against the pan while he baked. And it just rolled up that wrap that was on his left. Which, I mean, it's disappointing, but it didn't ruin the figure. And it still looks okay with that wrap kind of rolled up. And we'll take a closer look at some of the areas here where you can see his skin showing through. I'm really happy with how his layers turned out, and he's got a good look. And I'm not really going for a certain thing if he's a realistic mummy or if he's a kid dressed up as a mummy. He's just my little mummy figurine. And he's kind of got these kind of cute cartoony proportions to him, where he's got these shorter legs and a little bit bigger head, and makes for a fun little Halloween decoration. He is a little wobbly. He's not quite as stable as I was hoping because he did fall over, but he does stand on his own, so that's, you know, a win in my book. It is really tricky sometimes to balance weight of figures, and sometimes you have to give them a little bit bigger feet or put them on a base. And remember, I do have a playlist down below for my other Halloween videos, and I'll be posting a new Halloween video tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and remember, never stop creating. Bye! If you'd like a piece of your Halloween artwork featured in my final 31 Days of Halloween video, please hashtag Andrew's 31 Days of Halloween 2019 on Instagram, or email it to me at andrewschmidtclaycreations@gmail.com. I will put this information down in the description box below so you don't have to copy it off of the screen. Deadline for submissions is October 26th, and one submission per artist.